Last week we talked about players that you should probably have on your team, and it was kind of a specific list, and we tried to keep it to not expensive players. But this week we're going to take it a step further and just talk about the abilities that you should have, because again, abilities are running this game, and some of this is going to be really, really obvious, okay? But when you're building a team, again, step one to me is abilities, because they run everything that happens in the game, and there's some people that you just don't know what you should do, and some of them are really a nice luxury to have. Again, in my personal opinion, we have so much AP in this game right now. It's probably a little too much, to be honest. Something should be more expensive as well, right? You could, like, we can say that, but when going through stuff, you always, and I think we said this last week even, you always want to start with the quarterback, okay? If you like to throw the ball at all, like if you throw the ball more than 0 times a game, the quarterback is obviously where everything really starts, okay? And it's the most important. Now, what abilities on a quarterback are the most important? Well, this is going to depend on how you like to play. Again, I'm using Kirk Cousins here. Kirk Cousins, right? Let's talk here. Start here. Gift wrapped. Do you need gift wrapped? You don't need gift wrapped, but if you have an extra AP to spare, it is the first place I would be putting it, probably, because without it, you still drop balls. Now, you won't drop wide open passes, but what you will drop is high balls. What you will drop is diving catches, and sometimes that's really, really meaningful and impactful. That's first downs, that's turnovers on downs. Anytime you can avoid the CPU deciding whether you catch the ball or not is really, really important. Next thing I have here is conductor. I don't think this is necessary. Again, this is a luxury, and part of the, I think we have too much AP. Roaming Deadeye. Do you like to move outside the pocket? If you do, Roaming Deadeye is fantastic at making crazy accurate throws. As long as when you're rolling outside the pocket, you release your right trigger or R2 if you're on PlayStation. But the two that I still think completely necessary is a combination of gunslinger, set feet lead. I do not think pass lead elite is a necessity at all. I think these two in a combination with any quarterback can really make them throw the ball very well. You're still going to see slight differences, ticks, hiccups, and all that sort of stuff. But any quarterback I use is going to have set feet lead and gunslinger. Based on how I play, I'm going to have roaming deadeye. And then any extra AP is going to go straight to gift wrap. I think it's still very, very important. When we go to running backs, again, just pause for a second. You notice I didn't say hot route master, okay? I don't think you need hot route master right now on a quarterback. It's nice to have it if you can get it at a discount, and I'm sure as the game goes on, that's going to be a thing. But there are certain players in the game, when you're using running backs, obviously evasive or jukebox is the most important thing you can have. Yeah, you know what? You just go get Angry Runs Bo Jackson and throw that on him. Absolutely. But there are also other options for things you can have, right? If you're willing to spend AP or not spend AP. We are seeing more and more 0 AP evasives and jukeboxes come out. But again, a card we talked about last week, Raheem Mostert here, right? Again, you don't have hot route master. You gonna have to kind of pick. And he basically gets backfield master for free. Matchup nightmare and running back apprentice is backfield master. Okay, that's the way it is, and it's free, and he's a very cheap card. So again, if you're someone who likes to do that with their running backs a lot, and you're more of a passer than a runner, a Raheem Mostert with this combination is fantastic. Otherwise, again, I will always have someone out there with evasive or jukebox. In these days, we have the AP to make it work. A lot of the other running back abilities I do not feel are at all necessary. When it comes to wide receivers, the two things I am looking at right now, and none of them are catching abilities, because frankly, people are probably going to have KOs and the catching abilities just don't really overly matter. And if you're throwing open passes, it doesn't matter anyway. But 2 cards right now that are solid because they have Jukebox and an Apprentice. Again, wide receiver Apprentice is better than slot Apprentice, is better than outside Apprentice. But again, how you work your team, do you flip your plays, do you do all that sort of stuff? That's why Randy Moss with wide receiver Apprentice and Jukebox for 0 is so important. It's so important to have. If you play at a very high level, it is. Deep elites, no. Route techs, no. Wide receiver Apprentice, Jukebox. Fantastic things to have. Again, the more 0 AP apprentices you can have, and put it, especially if you put them in the right spot based on how you play, is great. Same thing with tight end and tight end apprentice. Now, some people will like third down threat, some people will like red zone threat. Again, that's an absolute luxury. It's nice to have. Again, I prefer throwing open passes as often as possible. And then obviously offensive line, having secure protectors, as many as you can get or what you can afford, is the right way to go. And we're going to keep getting them. And you see EA, they starting to throw like edge protectors and stuff around. We don't, if you have to, that's better than nothing. Okay. But secure protector does a good job against the pass blocking and run blocking, right? I think identifier is very, very good to have. Very good to have. And you can get it with Dan Deerdorf. You can get it on Dan Deerdorf. It's perfect, right? You have to have Jason Kelsey. Dan Deerdorf. Again, use mutt.gg. So this is why I feel like we have too much APs, because we keep getting 0 AP for really important things over and over and over. And it's going to happen more and more and more. And more 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 and more. Right? That's why, like, to me, Andrew Thomas, he's the guy to the end of the game if you really want him to be. That's an end game card. Rob Havenstein, he's basically an end game right tackle. If you want to chase overall, by all means you can. Dan Deerdorf is basically an end game right guard. The only 2 positions are going to be center and left guard. Now, if you have Jason Kelsey, that's great. If you don't, obviously find something to do there. You can get so much done. Look, we have 9 AP and 16 players here, and we just have other random stuff. I don't even have something on Vernon Davis here, right? But for Bo Jackson, 0 AP tight end apprentice. Luke Musgrave has a 1 AP tight end apprentice. So what does this mean? Again, it's based on how I play. I need my tight ends with apprentice. Well, it costs me 1 for that. 0 on my running back, 0 on this receiver, 0 on this receiver, and my outside receiver I don't normally do a whole lot with. So I'm getting essentially wide receiver apprentice and all these other apprentices to make a hot route master for 1 AP. Again, make it work for you. Make your AP be as smart as possible. Do the math, pull out a pen and paper. The abilities that you can have. Regardless, again, it's just going to get easier and easier and easier to get these things, but you should have these things for sure somewhere. Maybe not all of them, because maybe some of the cards are expensive to get for you and then they're out of your budget, your price range, but that's where you work. Start at your quarterback and then go out. Very simple on offense. Defensive abilities, let's talk those. Boys, it is Taco Tuesday over on Prize Picks. If you don't know what that means we have discounts daily throughout the entire day. So you're going to get, probably about 3 of them, but they are time limited. So make sure you go check out the app now. If you're not already on the app, you can go use my code CC and get your first deposit matched up to $100. Maybe you'll win 100 times your money. Maybe you will. Could be your day. Might be my day. I'm going to be trying. But again, with the first taco discount, we have Luka Doncic, and hopefully he might still be around and available for you to pick by the time you see this. If not, hey, guess what? There's going to be another one up there as well. I have my 2 entries for the day, which we do for our daily series, a daily normal entry and a daily demon entry. Put those both on screen for you today. You guys want to tail those, follow along, do all those things, feel free. Go over to my Twitter. There's going to be links right there. Again, check out Prize Picks. Have fun with Taco Tuesday. Again, and then you're getting ready for Flex Friday as well, which is in 3 days. Come back for that. Thank you guys. Enjoy it. I love you. Thank you for all the support. back to the video. Now, the most important thing when you are building your defense here is until we get even more AP or more discounts, you need to know this is the coverage that I run. I don't care what coverage it is that you run, but that's the coverage you need to run. And you need to be running zone KOs as much as possible. Anyone who plays on the outside, you would not think I need mid-zone KO. However, it's literally the most important thing that you can have because they attack some of those short passes, streaks, posts, all the sort of stuff very, very well. And those are the random knockouts that you need, which is why you see me deep zone, mid zone, deep zone, mid zone, flat zone, mid zone, flat zone, mid zone. It's that important. Again, I run a lot of cover too, so this is why I have my setup that way with my safeties, who are not actually safeties, with deep zones and mid zones, and my corners with flat zones and mid zones. Again, I am optimizing my AP setup for how I play the game. Literally, that's it, right? That is it. Now, we will say that because people have secure protectors, and that helps counter. It helps counter a lot of things that we would like to do. Inside stuffs, some of these unstoppable forces, Colossus, all that sort of dual threat. That is true. It does exist. But that's a lot of times on the outside there. So I still think having pre-lit pass rush is very important to have. Again, it can be Warren Sapp, it can be George Karlaftis, it could be Roman Reigns, it could from the cheaper options. That's totally fine. Would you rather have it and not need it necessarily, or it gets canceled out? That's a 1 AP savings. And again, then you can move that guy around, especially if he's an actual D lineman. You can move him around based on where your opponent's secure protectors may be. Again, they're likely on the outside. So maybe you want to have it at D tackle. Not a lot of people are running the center there. Maybe you want to have it if you have a 4 down lineman set. You want to put them at the left side of the D tackle spot because you know their left guard doesn't have it or their right guard doesn't have it. See that and take advantage of that. It's a little substitution. And it's really easy to make, but you should have at least one of them. And if you're going to have multiple, again, I prefer them on the inside more than the outside. Because again, if you play someone and they don't have a secure protector on the edge, just move the guy over. Okay? Simple. And they work better on a 4 down lineman set, in my personal opinion. I feel like pick artist is something that we all love. We feel like it is necessary to catch interceptions, and sometimes it is, but I feel like it's being phased out a little bit. The cost of it is getting a little too high. I would rather knock the ball out than catch the ball, because if you do not have KOs, they will always catch the ball. So pick artist has fallen off my radar a little bit. You see, I have it on one person here, and that's really just because that's all he has. I don't have all the tokens in him just yet. Okay. Obviously, lurk artist is very important. Secure tackler is another one that is very underrated to a lot of people. They're not really putting it out there. It costs AP. Normally, it does. And on your linebackers, your users, your sub linebackers, if you can get a secure tackler out there, that is fantastic. The gold standard for linebacker abilities is going to be a lurk artist, a secure tackler, and a mid zone KO. 100%, that is the truth. And that's when the game's going to get a lot harder to pass on. It's going to get a lot harder to pass on. Okay? Now again, maybe if you have lighted up tokens, Jair Brown, throw them in there. You can make it work. I would love to be able to use some of my AP on those things. I just don't, because again, there's other things that we're using them on. A lot of the paid pass rush abilities, edge threat elite, double or nothings, unpredictables, they don't really do a whole lot this year. If you can get them for free, sure. If you can't get them for free, I wouldn't be paying for them. If you are using Edge Threat or Edge Threat Elite, you cannot contain your players. Same thing with these other pass rushes. Contains and pass rush abilities, they clash. They do not work very well. If you're containing, you're like, this card sucks. That's why. All right, we are there. It's pretty simple. One thing I think that works out really, really well is Under Pressure. It is expensive. There are some discounts with it. However, again, with normal pass rush, it's okay. A lot of the cards are really the same. If you can put it like we have on Roman Reigns here, I'm not saying go do this exact stack to Roman Reigns. I can't believe I'm still saying that about a MUT card, but Under Pressure really does work. A lot of people aren't using Fearless. Again, maybe that changes over time, but for now, it's worth having. It is worth having if you have the extra AP. And again, I do have the extra AP. I do, because there are so many people you can get 0 AP, a flat zone, a mid zone with, a pick artist. Just throw those guys in there in the slot. Let them work. Again, for a slot corner, I'm looking for mid zone and flat zone. That's why Peanut Tillman, a lot of people love him in the slot. Again, for me, the way I play, I can just use him outside here just fine. He's 0 AP, 0 AP card. My worst AP card is Tariq Woolen, and I think he's a fantastic card, okay? But again, that's basically all you really need. Interior threat, again, for 0, fine. Throw it in those other pass rush abilities. Don't pay for those things. If you're going to pay for pass rush, do it with X factors. Otherwise, KOs. Just use KOs. I run cover 3. Well, CB1, CB2 should have deep zone KOs and mid zone. Do you flip your defense? Well, if you're flipping your defense in a cover 3, well, then you've got a bit of an issue because you're trying to do 2 things. So we can figure out, can I afford to flip my defense and all of a sudden not have this guy in this spot and have this guy in this spot? Again, if you're using, for my example here, I'm sure there's other cards, Dion and Brian Branch here at safety. Even if I were to run cover 3, they cover me with my middle third, and a lot of times then they would actually be your hook zone as well. However, some cover 3s, they will have that safety going into a hook of a curl flat, a purple, or a blue, light blue, however you want to think about it. So again, if that's your case, then you're putting people out there where they don't need to be. Okay. This is how you should build your team. Special teams, do what you want. Just get go whoever you can afford. When it comes to the rest of the stuff, again, just make sure that you have all of these things going on. If you have a linebacker that you are using without lurk artist, you're doing it absolutely wrong. Please stop right now. I play enough people like that. It's not a ton, but I do play them. They don't have lurk artist on their users as actual linebackers. Don't use Channing Crowder and his 1 AP. Go get somebody else. I don't care who it is. Isaiah Simmons is not that expensive. He's not. But that's the best way to build AP in this game right now. Use your X factors to your advantage. Again, if you want to use really good X factors on offense, I think, to me, you can put one on your quarterback. That's cool. But again, as we get farther along and maybe people are using that momentum shift and it kind of deactivates your X factors, okay. But quarterback, X factor, sure, pick one, especially if there's a pre-lit one. Running backs, angry runs. Wide receivers, my favorite X factor to use on them is yak 'em up. Very, very good. What does it mean? It just means you break the first tackle after every catch. It's pretty important. So you can maximize your AP. You can maximize your team building. You don't have to have all the most expensive cards. Let's say, like, especially the way that this team is set up, it's not really that crazy expensive of a team. It's a little expensive, but it's not the best team in the game. I think that's fair. We could build the best team in the game, but right now I'm building teams to have fun. This team is fun to me. It's fun. EA is not going to force me into something, I'm going to make the team that I want right now. I'm not worried about theme teams. I'm not worried about a combine team. I'm not worried about it. I do not care. New card looks cool. I'm using it. If he gets good AP. If he doesn't get good AP, I don't want him. Hopefully you guys learned something here. A couple things that you should have known, and if we got you guys learning one or two things, that's a good day in my book. Thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any suggestions for what we do for next week, let me know. I'm out. Peace.